Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are doing well. This is me, Aisha Zahid, your science teacher, and I welcome you all in the today's session after a very great time, after a very long time. Hope that the midterm examinations went well. So welcome you all again in the session where we'll be discussing our ongoing topic, which is continued in the school, and the topic that the chapter and the topic that we are discussing today would be of class 6. So this is your book for grade 6 general science, and it's been published by Cantab. So the chapter that we are going to study is sense organs, which is on page number 20 in your books, right? So today we are going to discuss the sense organ, and we have to review the structures and the basic functions of our five basic sense organs, which is nose, tongue, ear, eye, ear, okay, as well as we'll see the skin. So let's get started. So these are the five basic senses that we are going to discuss, and it's the sense of smell, like sense of smelling, okay. Then there's a sense of touch, then there's a sense of hair, then there's a sense of like touch, and then there's a sense of seeing, okay. And the five organs that supports these senses, the five organs that are responsible for the senses are like nose, tongue, ear, skin, and eye, right? So this is a chapter sense organ, and the senses, the basic senses are the five senses, which is smell, taste, hearing, sight, and touch. These senses are associated with some specific organs, and first of all, we will going to discuss about the structure and the function of nose. Okay, so the nose is the main organ for smell that functions as a part of respiratory system. So we have discussed some basic concepts that there is a good smell, there is a bad smell. So the good smell is referred as fragrance, the bad smell is referred as odor. The sense, like the smell for the food, we cannot term the smell of food as a smell, okay. So the word that we use for the smell of food is aroma, right? So there are three types of a smell: the good smell, which is a fragrance like perfume, scents, flowers, the smell of flowers; the bad smell, which is odor, uh, whether it's something rotten, something bad, okay. And then we have the smell of food, which is aroma. So the nose is divided into two parts: first of all external nose, and second is internal nose. External nose is present on the surface of the face, ठीक है, which is visible, and it is made up of cartilage bone. Cartilage is basically the bone which is flexible, which is soft, muscles and skin. सही है. The composition supports and protects the interior portion of the nasal cavity. The two openings in the nose are called nostrils. The internal, now you can see the figure 2.1, the external nose. The two openings are known as nostrils, and the bone is the cartilage, then the bone, then the muscle, and the skin. The internal nose have two nasal cavities that are separated by the septum. Septum is a wall made up of cartilage, and each nasal cavity is an empty space within the nose and the brain. Um, there are some nose hairs inlined, as well as the mucus, ठीक है, in the nose. The function for the nose is they are the passageway for breathing, ठीक है. The main function of the nose hair is to purify the air, purify the air oxygen that we are inhaling. Okay, so all sort of some microorganisms and infections and all stuck in the nose hair and will not be able to move through into the body or through into the brain. So the function of the mucus in the nose is to keep the nose surface warmed, to keep the nose, like to prevent the nose from drying, right? um Basically it's the passageway for breathing, and nose is the first line of defense against the sickness, right? Okay, then we have structure and function of tongue. Now, what is tongue? So tongue is a main organ of taste that functions as a part of digestive system. Nose is a part of respiratory system. Tongue is a part of digestive system. Tongue is a muscular organ in the mouth, and it is covered with wet pink colored tissue called mucosa. The rough texture of tongue is due to the presence of tiny bumps on the surface of the tongue, which is known as papillae. Thousands of the taste buds are present over the surface of the papillae. Okay? And that taste buds are the collective of nerves, like cells that are connected to the brain for the taste detection. Can I have a picture? Yes. So look at this. This is a tongue. It has some taste receptors. The upper portion of the tongue represents the bitter taste. Then we have sour taste. Then we have salty, and then we have sweet taste. Okay. So these taste receptors are interpreted by the brain, that what kind of food we are intaking. The function of tongue is okay, there are some more things as well. Dorsum is the tongue's upper surface, which is very sensitive, and it is kept moist by the saliva. Saliva is a watery liquid present inside our mouth, and is richly supplied with the nerves and the blood vessels. Tongue is basically attached to the mouth by the network of tongue tissues and mucosa, right? The four common tastes are the sweet taste, the sour taste, the bitter taste, and the salty taste. Now, the function of tongue is important in the digestion. It helps in chewing of the food, and it helps in the swallowing of the food, as well as it identify the taste of the food. Okay. Uh, the tongue also serves as a natural mean of cleaning the teeth. Okay. Then we have structure in the function of air. Air is a main organ for hearing and maintaining the sense of balance in our body. Each human ear is divided into three parts: the external layer, the middle layer, and the internal layer. The external part of the ear consists of the papilla and the external auditory canal, ear canal. The pinna is visible part of the ear present outside the ear, right? The middle layer has like a tympanic cavity, a cavity, the space filled by the air, that contains three tiny bones known as ossicles. The bones are named according to the shape: malleus, जिसको hammer भी कहते हैं, incus, also known as anvil, and stapes, also known as stirrup. The middle layer is connected to the back of the nose and throat by the auditory tube. The middle layer is connected to internal air through a thin membrane called a round window. The cochlea is a spiral shaped hearing part of the inner ear. Cochlea transforms sounds into nerve impulses that travels to the brain, and then brain through the cochlear nerve. The semicircular canals are attached to the cochlea and vestibular nerves in the ear. They send information as a nerve impulse for process of hearing to maintain the balance and the position of the body through the brain. The fun, interesting fact is the human ear functions even when the person is sleeping. The ear will continue to pick up sounds, but the brain blocks them. Uh, the main function of ear is to interpret the sounds, and now we have what we have structure and function of eye. Eye is a sense organ which allows the vision and the react which reacts with the light. ठीक है, it converts the light coming reflecting from the object into colored moving three-dimensional images. We have two parts, external part and internal part. The external part of an eye consists of two layers. The tear layer in the first layer of the eye, it's clear, moist, and salty in taste. The tears usually are the transparent, moist, and salty liquid, and its purpose is to keep the eye moist and smooth. The second layer is an eyelid, which is a thin fold of skin that covers and protects the human eye. Then we have the outer covering of an eye, which is known as sclera, and basically white part is sclera. And we have pupil. Pupil is inside the eyeball, which is basically controls the intensity of the light, right? Then we have internal part. So the first outer part is cornea. Light basically travels inside the eye through cornea. Then we have choroid. Choroid is a layer of the eye that lies above the retina, and its function is to provide nourishment to the outer layers of the retina through the blood vessels. Now, then we have retina. Retina is basically known as the screen of the eye where the inverted image of an object is formed, right? Then we have iris. Iris is like the pupil of an eye is basically located uh, like before the iris, and that controls the intensity of the light. Okay, the lens that is used in the human eye is a convex lens. The function of the human eye like first of all, it enables us to see the colors, the clear vision, and uh, the the retina of a human eye has basically two major cells known as cones and rods. They have two different functions. Cones are the part of the human eye which controls the vision in the bright light, and rods controls the vision in the dark light, right? So whenever you guys are outside of somewhere and there is a sunlight, brightness sunlight, and suddenly you come back into a room, there is a glitch, there is a black sort of surface in front of your eyes. The reason behind that glitch is that cones are deactivating and rods are activating, ठीक है? So these two cells have like this different functions, and eyes helps us to see near as well as distance object. This is the eye, like you can see the top lid, the sclera, the white portion, the tear duct from where we have the tears out, then cornea, then lens, then bottom lid, eyelash, pupil, and iris. Then we'll discuss the structure and function of skin. The human skin is the outermost covering of the body, and it is the largest organ of the body because it is covered throughout the body, right? In the human, it is largest sense organ that protects the body from various kind of damages such as loss of water or attack from outside. uh then the first superficial layer of skin is epidermis. Epidermis is the first layer of the skin. We have three layers: epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. So the first layer is the epidermis. It is relatively thin and tough layer that contains hair above the surface. Being the outermost portion of the skin, it is relatively waterproof, and it prevents our body from bacteria, viruses, and other foreign substances entering the body. Then we have middle layer, which is dermis, and it's a thick layer of elastic tissues that gives the skin a flexibility and strength. The dermis contain nerve endings, blood vessels like the arteries and the veins, sweat glands, and sebaceous sebaceous glands, smooth muscles, and hair follicles. Then we have beneath the dermis, we have hypodermis or subcutaneous fatty tissue layer. It helps to insulate the body from heat and cold. um, Function of the skin is to protect our body from the bacteria, virus, and the other foreign substances. And the primary function of the skin is to act as a barrier, basically to protect. ठीक है? And the skin is an organ of sensation. It has a receptors that sense touch, pressure, pain, and temperature. So one thing I wanted to add here is the average adult has approximately 21 square feet of skin throughout their body, which weighs like 9 lbs and contains more than 11 miles of blood vessels. Uh, some areas of the skin has more nerve endings than the normal, and that areas are the fingertips and the toes. So this was all about the chapter sense organ of grade 6. Hope you enjoyed studying this chapter. We have ended this chapter in our class. This was a short review, a quick review of all the basic concepts and the structures. If you still have any question, any query regarding this chapter, any question regarding any structure, any function, you are always welcome and free to ask whenever you wanted. And till the next lecture, take a very good care of yourself, everyone, and start reviewing your chapter as the MTs are just around the corner. And the very good luck, and take care of yourself. Thank you so much for your listenings. Allah Hafiz.